In 1970, Keith Sapsford, an Australian teen, fell to his death from an airplane as the wheel compartment he was hiding in opened midair for the plane's wheels to retract. This is some very old news. But recently, the world saw something similar happening in Afghanistan when 2 people fell off the wheel of a US plane flying away from Kabul. Actually 3 people fell, but everyone is saying 2, so I will also say 2. When people saw this news, it was kind of a new thing to them. Most people were shocked. How can something like this happen to a country? People running after planes, people on planes, hanging on to planes, falling from planes. Sad. That Stan must be a very bad Stan. Or, is it? Is it Afghanistan? Is the problem really with the place? Why do people risk their lives, when it's more than evident that they would die trying to pull off an impossible feat, such as dangling all the way from Asia to North America, on a plane's wheels? Why do people have to choose one kind of death, just to escape another? Is it the very narrow possibility that they think they have to hang on to a plane's wheel until it touches down many hours later, while not dying from oxygen deprivation and freezing temperatures without falling down? Before Keith fell from the wheel well of a plane flying to Japan from Australia in 1970, he had one thing in his mind, that he would somehow escape from the Catholic residential school he was put in, and have an adventure traveling the world, never to be sent to that school again. He did succeed in not going to a Catholic school again, just not in the way he thought he would. The 19-year-old Afghan who died falling from a U.S. plane in Kabul was a member of the country's national football team, or the soccer team, translated for U.S. These 2 teens had different reasons to risk their lives. One was looking for adventure, and freedom from religion. The other, to escape death and maybe get freedom, of religion. Let's not talk about Keith, maybe Zaki can explain both stories to us. Zaki, the soccer player. He was 19 when he died. He must have had at least a couple of flights being a national team player, and surely more knowledgeable than 14-year-old Keith. Didn't he have any other way to escape what he was trying to escape? Couldn't he think of anything better? As an example, if Zaki was afraid that he would be captured by that radical group, especially because he was famous, he had the option to join the people traveling to cross the land border to enter Tajikistan, or the much closer to Kabul, Pakistan. We cannot say that he would have succeeded, but at least he would not have faced a 100% probability of death by hanging miles above the ground for hours. At least he could have fled with his family to a faraway village within Afghanistan, change his identity, which is quite easy in Afghanistan, and hide away. But as I said, Zaki was 19, and USA went to Afghanistan in 2001. It's been 20 years. Zaki knows not of an Afghanistan without US influence. He hasn't experienced the harder life of 20 years ago. The liberties and luxuries he has got used to were coming to an end, and he would not hide away to live without those. Many people were not trying to escape death that day. They were trying to escape life under a tyrannical rule where the simple luxuries they had for almost 2 decades would not be there anymore. People will live under any undesirable condition, under iron fists, under slavery, under famine, until they get to know about freedom and luxuries. Why only a handful of North Koreans try to escape their prison of a country? Why don't we see mass exodus events that even the border guards of oppressive regimes support as part of the oppressed in that regime? Because they do not know anything other than being oppressed and sad. The world is unknown to them, blocked out of sight by the oppressor. They do not know that happiness and freedom exists outside. But if they do get to know, we get to hear the rare stories of escaping, such as the stories of very few oppressed North Koreans escaping to South Korea. Once you get to know that there is freedom and happiness out there, you would do anything to escape your torment to grab that liberty. You will risk death to escape living as a tortured prisoner. We all will anyway die at the end, but we would always prefer one kind of death over the other, if we know about both of them. Die trying is better than die crying. Dying of cause is better than dying of course. By a firing squad or starvation. I am not saying that Zaki did the right thing by hanging onto an airplane wheel. No, not at all. But when you already know that all creatures love liberty, and that they would die for it if they get hope, or even if they just get to know that liberty exists, you should not show it to them if you cannot give it to them. Some people are in bliss, just because of their ignorance. Some people are happy just because they think what little they have, is what all there is. We should not show a happily caged bird the outside world where birds fly freely in the sky, if we intend to never release the bird. Do educate. Do encourage. But do not open doors halfway and then close them. Do not walk into someone's life if you are not sure you can stay, or at least, if you really have to leave. Do not storm out wreaking so much havoc that they will fall to their death from somewhere so high they were never supposed to be. Did you like what you just watched? Would you like to support me to do more videos like this? I donate a portion of my Patreon earnings to verified medical fundraisers. In my last video, I mentioned that I will be donating to poor families in Sri Lanka. But hey, I don't have to be limited to one country. Going forward I will donate to verified medical fundraisers on sites like MeLARP and GoFundMe. All proof of donations will be published on Patreon. You will be supporting me to create more content while being part of a greater cause helping people out of their medical emergencies. If you can spread the word, that would also be a great help. Go check out my Patreon page, the link is in the description. There are many exclusive benefits for my patrons. Click that subscribe button if you have not already, and we will meet soon, in another video.